Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Mike Delisio.
And today we're taking a look at River Valley Glassworks, which is a kind of a mouthy name for a smaller game. It's a good name.
Do bigger games usually have longer names?
I don't know.
Twilight Imperium.
Don't try to read
River Valley
into this.
Glassworks.
This is a game in which you're collecting stones, the same kind of stones that as a child I used to make ashtrays. I think you didn't make ashtrays when you were a kid, Mike?
Actually, you know what? You're right. In school, I made an ashtray out of clay, and we put little rocks in the top of it.
Yeah, I used stones that were very similar to these. Took it home, and my dad was like, thanks for the new bowl.
My dad kept his loose pennies in the ashtray I got him.
But anyway, this is a game that's all about collecting these little stones from the rivers and your cute little animals. Let me show you how it plays, and we'll be right back. Realize that a few of the pieces, like these clear pieces here, are from the deluxe version, but the game plays basically the same. You're going to have a bunch of river tiles here, and these are going to start with some stones randomly pulled from the bag. Now this bag has a bunch of glass stones in it that are various shapes and colors. And so each of these tiles will start with one or two based on the number of rocks that it shows. And you'll also have some at the end of the river. Each player is going to have their own board where they'll be collecting pieces, as well as a pan here where they'll start with 3 random pieces from the bag. On a player's turn, you pick one of the stones from your bag, and you're going to pick the tile here that has the matching shape. So this one's kind of like a diamond. So here's the one that's kind of like a diamond. And I'm going to place that onto this one. Instead of doing that, I could always use 2 that are the same shape and put them anywhere. But let's say I pick this one here. I will then take all the stones off either of the 2 adjacent tiles. So let's say I take these 2 stones. I will then place them on my board. So you start from the bottom row and you move over, and you can put them in any order. But if I get any more of these stones in the future, these orange ones, they have to go into the same column as the orange color that I've picked. There is a bit of rarity. You can see there's a little chart here to show that there are more whites and lavender colored stones than there are yellows and oranges. So I got a rare one here. Once I'm done doing that, I'll take the tile that I used and move it to the end of the river, pushing the other ones up and adding stones to the new tile according to the stones on the front of it. So this one shows 2 stones. I'll put 2 more on there, and then it's the next person's turn. Instead of taking stones, you can always refill your pan if you want more stones in your pan. And when you do that, you'll take 4 of the stones here from the middle, placing them into your pan. If you go over 5, you'll have to put them here in your overflow. And this is -3 points per piece at the end of the game. So you probably don't want to do the taking stones from the front of the river too often. And you're going to keep doing that. Every time you take stones, you're going to move up your inventory marker. When that gets to 17, that's going to trigger the end of the game. Everyone's going to get a last turn, refilling up to 3 if they need to, and then you'll score your board here. At the end of the game, you'll score each of these. First, you'll score rows. So you'll start, and for each complete row that you have, you'll score the points. This is 22 points. This one here is 16 points. This one doesn't get many points because there's some open spots here. Had these both been filled, I would have got 11 points. So I get 22 plus 16. Then you score for your 2 largest columns. This one's all the way filled to the top, so that gives me 20 points. These are both tied at 3, so I have to pick this one, which is worth less points, which is worth 9 points. This one here would be worth 15. So you have to think about where you're going to put the more common gems. Putting white near the end lets you go all the way up to the top, maybe get 35, but then you might not complete your rows. Anyway, you will take these points, subtract any points for the -3 for your overflow pieces, and whoever has the most is the winner. All right, just so everyone knows, as we mentioned and talk about our opinions on this game, we are sponsored by All Play Games, so keep that in mind, although, of course, we're always very honest with our thoughts. River Valley Glassworks is a very simple and easy game to teach. You are literally just taking stones with one action or taking stones with another action and putting them on your board. It's pretty basic. I find it to be pretty easy to teach, with the hardest thing being the scoring.
I think the only hiccup when teaching new people is as soon as people understand there's a difference between collecting from the river onto your scoreboard or when you're going to like replenish the tiles you have on your pan. As long as people don't confuse those two, they're good. It's fairly smooth action-wise.
Yeah, very simple game, very approachable game, and the look of the components on the table in front of you are going to be even more leaning into the approachability of the game.
Sure, it's really easy. The symbols are neat. I'm actually a big fan of the shapes, because the shapes are like, that's a heart. Well, it's a stone that kind of looks like a heart. It's not a perfect heart, because stones aren't perfect. As dumb as that little touch is, I like that. And also, I know that they did some looking in the colors, make sure you could tell the colors apart pretty easily. And then you got the cute animals and all that jazz. Like I said in the overview, I was showing the enhanced version with the clear acrylic tiles, but the base version of the game that just has regular tiles, those look pretty good too. I don't know that you need to upgrade.
No, and I know that one of the differences that you can get like the glass pieces for the actual glass, or you can get just plastic, and they feel to me 95% the same.
I agree.
One has a little more heft, and that's the only difference. I think that the standard edition of this is going to look gorgeous still. Andrew Bosley artwork. There's not anything really different there. But yeah, I like the presentation of this in either edition.
Yeah, and although I agree with you, I like the components quite a bit. I think that they are above average, especially for a game at this kind of price point. It did make me think of one other little hiccup that I can find with teaching the game, is that in one part of the game, you're only focusing on shapes, which is when you are placing onto the river to collect other stones. And then when you place them actually on your board for scoring, then it's color. And so you do want to make sure that people understand the difference there, how shapes matter for one part of the board, and that the colors matter for the other part of the board. And it also is important to kind of talk about the rarity. But what I really like is that they have that rarity, the distribution of the different types of stones, the colors, right there on your board. And so that's another way that it's user-friendly. I think they did a good job component-wise, giving you little kind of hints, reminders. So, when you have the overflow, it says right on there, -3 points. Is that a big deal? No, but I'm glad it's there. I would have probably been saying, why didn't they just put that there if they hadn't? So they do what they can to make this as easy to approach as possible.
Strategy-wise, you need to remember, it's a 20-minute game. Very short. You're collecting, and I think for some people they're going to go, wait, what? It's over? It's pretty fast, and it has some basic strategies, like when you draw stones, do you want to draw common stones first, the common colors, to put them at the front so you can have longer rows, or you're trying to wait to the very end to put one out so you can get a column all the way up to 5. Of course, you can get a column to 5 with the rare colors too, but I don't know that there's a lot of huge decisions to be made in this game, but it feels like there's good decisions to be made in this game. It's definitely a family weight game, a game that could be taught to kids and adults pretty easily. And as a small side note, they do have a few minor expansions that I think enhance the strategy. If you want more of a gamery game, they add to that.
Absolutely. The basic game as is very welcoming. People compare it to Azul because you're kind of doing tile laying, tile collecting, and I don't think that that's a bad comparison. If you like that, then I think you're going to enjoy some of the ways that you do this. And for me personally, compared to the basic Azul, this one, the scoring is easier to teach in my experience. But you're right, Tom. There's not like a ton of huge, overwhelming strategy, but there are lots of small decisions that matter. To Mike's point about the rarity, it's printed on your board, and it matters a little bit. But it's also not like the rare tiles, there's only 3 of them in the whole game. You can still overflow even on the rare colors. And you're like, oh, that's 3 points. I took too many of one color. And that's possible if you and I like, what is it? There's 7 columns but 8 colors. So if you grab that 8th color, you're like, well, that's also negative points. So the game has enough teeth in it, even though it is very friendly and very welcoming. But yeah, that scoring matters a lot.
And I can say that I can kind of say for sure that, at least in my experience, I played one of the games with a large disparity in ages. We had someone who was pre-teen playing the game. We had an older teenager playing. We had adults playing the game, and it didn't feel completely out of whack. Like the younger person playing was completely out of the game. They got it. They understood it. There was a little bit of reinforcement of understanding, especially, you know, the couple of little nuances in the scoring rules, namely the fact that when you have a break in a row, that's where the scoring stops. That was a little confusing, not only to the younger player, but to a couple other players. So that's something you want to reinforce. And that you're only scoring your largest two columns, and if there's a tie, that is the leftmost, which is the one with fewer points. So I think what this is reinforcing is that there are certain things that you have to kind of maybe make clear if it's somebody that hasn't played a lot of games. They're not complicated. You just want to make sure they're reminded of them throughout the game. But that also means that there is more to think about. Like, honestly, there have been times where I've been put into a position where I'm having to figure out, okay, you know, I really want this stone, but if I do that, I have to take this other one that's going to make my tallest column not worth 28 points, but worth like 18 points now. And so you could certainly map that out if you wanted to, but in this type of a game, I just go with my gut. But plenty of decisions, but it has a wide range.
Everything Mike just said is way more thought than 90% of people are going to put into this game. It's very simple. It's very easy. This is a 7.5 for me. I like it. I kind of went into it thinking, and then I played it and enjoyed it. And then the second time I played it, I liked it more. And then I was just happy to see so many people. I mean, I've seen this one get played a lot, and everyone seems to have a very high opinion of it. And I think the shortness of it helps a lot. So I personally would play with the expansions, just as, you know, special abilities, whatever it might be. But the base game is also really nice, 7.5.
I think for me, that I had the same thing. As I played it more, my estimation of it grew. As you play with people who this is on digital, on Board Game Arena, and when you play with someone who's played it 20 times, you notice, like, oh, they're pretty good at this game. And it's not that I'm completely out of it. It's not you know, a pure abstract 100%, you know, the more experienced player will always win. But it gave me a deeper appreciation that, okay, there is game here. It's not pure, you know, luck or anything. I like it. It's an 8 for me. I think that this is fun, beautiful presentation. I like, as Mike's talking about, all the different scoring considerations that makes it fun for me to play this one. So yeah, River Valley Glassworks, an 8.
Yeah, and I'm at an 8 too. I mean, I'm closer to an 8.5 than I am to a 7.5 because I have really enjoyed bringing this out to different types of groups. I've never had a group have a bad time. I've had individual people that maybe were not thrilled with how constrained they felt. They didn't feel like there was enough mitigation, you know, the two identical shapes being anything you want. They didn't feel like that was enough. I disagree because it's such a short game. And as you've mentioned, Tom, like, you just keep going. But it is something that has gone over very well. It's quick to set up. It's quick to play. It has charming look to it. The characters are all cute. People are usually like, oh, I want to be the turtle. I want to be to this. I want to be to that. And so I do appreciate that. I appreciate that everything fits easily into the box, including a player mat. I don't know if that's in the standard edition or not. I don't remember. Probably not. But it's a nice production. It has just the right amount of decisions for the amount of time that you're playing it, I think. So an 8 could go up if I continue to enjoy bringing it to more people.
And it ends at just the right point, too, where there's enough tension of, you know, am I going to get these last few tiles I want, or am I going to have too many? I think it's just right for me.
Well, there you go, folks. That is River Valley Glassworks. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vessel.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Mike Delisio.
We're going to be making ashtrays tonight. everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.